Hello Internet, I am Axowhatl, and today I'm going to be talking about what if Godzilla was a Pokemon. Typically I make Pokemon teams, but I think Godzilla would be more of a Pokemon himself, so let's begin. Okay, so I may have lied a little. I'm actually going to be making two Pokemon because I think it would be nice to make this a two-stage evolution. One would be Godzilla, and its pre-evolution would be Godzooky. This is Godzilla's nephew from the 1978 cartoon, the Godzilla Power Hour. Yes, it's obscure, but it's also adorable, so deal with it. Godzooky is basically a very small Godzilla with wings for some reason. And yeah, I thought it'd be nice to make this a two-stage evolution, and two Pokemon are always better than one, so... Anyway, let's begin. So, for one, I think Godzilla would be a Dragon Water type. Dragon because it's a massive lizard, and lizards are typically Dragon type in Pokemon. And Water type because it lives in the ocean. And there's not exactly a city-stomping type, so Dragon Water it is. And Godzooky would be a Dragon Flying type, because, again, it's a massive lizard, so Dragon. But it also can fly or glide, depends on the episode. And since Halucha, who only glides and doesn't fly, is still a Flying type, I think Godzooky would also be a Flying type. Okay, so now the stats. Godzilla would have a base stat total of 680, which is the same with Pokemon like Rayquaza and Mewtwo. And yes, I would be considering Godzilla a legendary Pokemon in this case because Godzilla's powerful. And we've also seen evolution lines where Pokemon evolve and they're still legendaries, such as the Cosmog line or the Silvally line. Okay, so his stat spread would be HP 100, Attack 150, Defense 120, Special Attack 150, Special Defense 120, Speed 40. And Godzooky would have a base stat total of 400, since it would be quite a bit weaker than Godzilla. It would have a stat spread of HP 100, Attack 90, Defense 50, Special Attack 90, Special Defense 50, Speed 20. The speed in both these Pokemon is fairly low, because even though Godzilla's a massive, strong, powerful Pokemon, or Kaiju in any other case, it's never seemed to be very fast. It just takes things like a step per minute. It is really slow. It just makes up for it by the fact it's a massive force of nature. And then to compensate, the other stats are really high because Godzilla is ridiculously powerful. It rarely ever dies in the films it's in. It just kind of shows up, destroys things, leaves. It's way beyond any power that the human race could actually think of within reason. It's strong. Its stats need to reflect that. Now, the abilities. I'm just going to give them both Intimidate and Bulletproof because the massive kaijus, they're terrifying. Intimidate is an understatement, to be honest. And Bulletproof because they're both bulletproof. Bullets could not, even scratch their hide. They're really strong. And yes, Godzooky gets these too, because even though he is significantly smaller than Godzilla, that's still very large. He's still building size. He's maybe more close to King Kong than Godzilla in terms of size, but again, he's still a massive lizard thing. He's scary, and it's definitely bulletproof. And finally, moves. I'm not going to make an entire level up moveset for these, but I'm going to give them both 4 moves, so you can have an example of the kind of moves that you could give a Pokemon in a fight. So, with Godzooky, it would be able to know Smokescreen, because unlike Godzilla, Godzooky is not actually able to use his atomic/fire breath, depending on the thing, and typically just makes smoke come out of his mouth, unless he's got some sort of arbitrary power-up. Next, it would have Fly, because it's the one thing Godzooky can do over Godzilla. So, yeah. And again, a massive reptile denying the laws of physics is hilarious to me, so I definitely need to give that to them. Next, it would also know Dragon Tail, because it has a massive tail, and we've already classed it as Dragon type. It only makes sense to use it. It also gives it a nice bit of Dragon stab that it would need. And to cap things off for Godzooky, Dragon Dance, because not any particular lore reason, but I just find the image of a massive kaiju dancing hilarious. Even though Dragon Dance isn't an actual dance, it's more like just spinning in a circle. It still is funny to me. Now, Godzilla will of course know all 4 of these fire moves because it evolves from Godzooky in this version. Which, yes, I know means Godzilla has the ability to fly. I didn't really know what to do there, but just ignore that. Say it somehow can't learn fly once it evolves. Now, Godzilla's moves would be Hyper Beam to represent its atomic breath, because in some times it seems it needs to have like a cooldown or a recharge time after using it, similar to how Hyper Beam means your Pokemon can't move the next turn. For example, in Godzilla -1, when it uses its atomic breath, it doesn't typically use it for quite a while afterwards. Next would be Dragon Pulse, which is this also representing atomic breath, but it also gives us some Dragon Stab and can be used more often than Hyper Beam since it doesn't have the downside of the recharge time. Next would be Aqua Tail for the same reason as Dragon Tail, but this time it gives some Water Stab to Godzilla since Godzilla is a Dragon Water type. And if it has a massive tail, it only makes sense to hit things with the massive tail. And finally, it would learn Recover, because in the amazing film Godzilla -1, it's seen to have amazing regeneration abilities. For example, when it eats a bomb, it just kind of grows half its face back. So Recovery is the closest thing I could think to that, other than just giving it the leftovers item. But you can give any Pokemon any item, so Recover it is. Oh yeah, and I'd imagine Godzooky evolving at like level 50 or something. It's a high level, but it's not so high that you're stuck with what is a fairly weak Pokemon the entire time. So you'd get it before you have to like end the game, but you still don't get it until very late game. Anyway, that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Axowhatl. See you next time.